Okay, so 2020, yeah, not the greatest of years, but it did see a lot of upcoming financial investors coming into the market. But the only problem is a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And the biggest one is the stock market. Hello there. Today I am going to be telling you guys what is the stock market. I'm going to giving you what is the stock market, how should you interact with the stock market, and I'm going to give you some recommendations of stocks.
There's a distance between us. It's getting hard to reach out.
Stocks to buy. Okay, so first of all, what is the stock market? Well, the stock market basically is a market where every company has their shares in it. A share is something you own, it's a part of the company. Let's take Apple for example, right? So Apple right now $135 to buy a stock. What that basically means is $135 you can buy one small piece of Apple. Now that's like below 0% even, but like yes, you can technically buy one small piece of Apple itself. And that's basically how the stock market works. There's all these other companies, Tesla, Boeing, Nvidia, basically any company you can think of, they will have a stock in the grand stock market. And that is basically what the stock market is. You buy shares, and the shares basically mean that you're buying a small percentage of the company. Okay, now how does that actually work, right? So why should I buy a share? Well, you buy a share because what happens is that if that company's value goes up, if its news is worthy, whatever, they're doing some grand stuff in the world, well, that stock actually goes up. So if we take Apple, like Apple started out at $0 as everyone else, and Apple won $35, meaning it grew. Meaning if you bought like, I don't know, if Apple was like 0.6 cents and you bought like millions of shares, you'd probably be owning like 2%, 3% of Apple right now. You'd be a billionaire. But that essentially is how the stock market actually works, is that you buy small percentages, and then depending on how the company performs, what it is news, then essentially that's what you get back. So yeah, that's pretty much what the stock market basically is, how it works. Now a lot of people think the stock market is very risky because obviously a company can go bust and just crash into the ground. However, that's up to you to decide, because let's face it, Apple, Facebook, Tesla, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so let's go on to which stocks should you invest in the stock market. Well, again, the stock market is huge and it really is more like gambling, but I mean, if you know your game, you know your game. So there are famous people like Warren Buffett who actually make most of the money through the stock market. And basically, I would recommend for you guys to invest in top 500 companies. So top 500 companies are stuff like Apple, stuff like Facebook, stuff like Boeing, Microsoft, Walt Disney, Netflix. Those are top 500 companies. Now I'm gonna give you a little secret. Okay, Apple typically have this thing where their stock price crashes around December, but before the next event, you can always check the next event online. People have prediction. Before the next event, their stock goes a bit down, and after the event the stock goes up. So that's just a little secret. All right, so I feel like Apple is a strong buy. Now let's talk about Amazon. Amazon is a stock that is insane. Okay, it's $3,000. It was $1,000 2 years ago. So Amazon is a bit of a risky side because $3,000 is a lot to get started, but I mean, it's all up to you. Now another stock I would recommend is Tesla. Tesla has been doing some great work, and I do see this as a big stock, Elon Musk especially. Okay, so now let's go on to index funds. So what is an index fund? An index fund basically refers to an index manager. You basically, let's say there's an index manager who has like 100 people donate like $1 million. Okay, let's say each person donates $1 million and 100 people donate $100 million. Then you, as the index manager, obviously you don't own an index fund, but as an index manager, you decide how you're going to split it into whichever stocks. I can say, okay, I'm going to buy like 5% of Apple, 5% of Tesla, and that's basically what the index fund does. Now, there are many different index funds. However, I do highly recommend the S&P 500. It is the top 100 stocks in the US currently, and I doubt that top 500 stocks in the US, and I doubt that all 500 stocks are just going to come crashing down. Index funds are what you call a safe bet. However, the only problem with index funds is that it'll take time for you to get your money back. And do remember that stocks are long-term things. Stocks are long-term investments. This is not something you buy today and get your money tomorrow. It's something you get over months, over years. But it is all passive income, and I highly recommend you start getting into stocks due to the current financial position. Alright, now I'm going to move on to dividend stocks. Dividend stocks. What is a dividend? Well, let's say Apple has been doing really great, right? And so they will decide that, okay, we have $1 million and we're going to give it out to our stockholder. Now you, depending on the percentage of stocks you hold, will receive a dividend. Now, obviously, no one owns 1% of Apple in the world, right? But if you do, you earn $10,000, but no one does. But you'll receive a dividend equivalent to that. So dividend stocks are good, and some dividend stocks can pay a lot. They can pay $500 every 6 months, quarter, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so dividend stocks are another way. So I'm going to move on to the next one, how to build a portfolio. Okay, your portfolio should mainly be around, like, I would recommend having one trust bank where you know this bank is not going to go out of business, and I would recommend having 2 or 3 dividend stocks. Why? Because obviously I told you stocks are long-term investments, and dividend stocks will just give you a bit of momentum, which will push your motivation, and just keep you like, oh, I'm actually earning money. You don't go and crash sell. Okay, so I would recommend that. I would also recommend for you to pick up in one index fund, any of your choosing. I recommend S&P 500, but it's at $3,000, so I'm not sure about that. I would also recommend you to have a company you trust, like Apple, a big company which you know isn't going to crash the next day. I would recommend Amazon, obviously, but I would recommend Apple, Tesla, Google. All of those are amazing. Okay, guys. Alright, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm currently 15 years old and I'm getting into stocks, and I just want you guys to drop a comment and tell me if you think that I should create a finance channel just to give my advice on this, because I am a teen who is investing in stocks, starting businesses, and I don't know, I have a lot of experience to share. And if you guys want that, please drop a comment saying if you want a finance channel. I will create one. I have the time, and I'm dropping one video